I want to talk to you shortly about my discovery of the Kingdom Hearts franchise before we get into this review. The entirety of Kingdom Hearts has been with me ever since I was a kid. Around Christmas one year, my aunt, uncle, and cousins came to visit. And my cousin Shane had Kingdom Hearts 2, and I remember the sheer joy of watching him fight Sephiroth and gain Fenrir for the first time. Although that's all I remembered, it's all I needed to. One trip to GameStop later, I got my hands on my own copy, and I've been hooked on the franchise ever since, even having my first tattoo be Sora's crown necklace. Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days came out in 2009 on the Nintendo DS, with Recoded following in 2010. Genuinely, I can't even tell you how I first got Days, I just remember it appearing one time. However, my most recent playthrough, and the one I'm referencing for this video, is going to be on Melon Mix on PC, which if you don't already know, it's incredible, but that isn't the topic of this video. If you're somebody who hasn't, in the nearly past 2 decades, played this title yet, I highly suggest it. If you experienced the game through the HD collection, I recommend you play it on DS or Melon Mix, nothing against it, it's just not the same. And if you would like to remain spoiler free, click away now, this is your warning. You play as Roxas, essentially a newborn baby boy with no idea who he is, what he's supposed to be doing, or who anyone else is, just that he's recruited into Organization 13. The bad guys that you spend the entirety of Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2 mollywopping, and I think it's interesting playing a character on the other side of the story. A couple days in, you'll be introduced to the 14th member, Xion. Strangely, she can use the Keyblade just like you. You, Xion, and Axel grow closer together throughout your days and start hanging out together after work at the Clock Tower in Twilight Town and share sea salt ice cream together. For most missions, you'll be paired with a fellow organization member, but sometimes you'll go solo. Each member has their own personality and meshes with Roxas differently. Axel being a big brother, Luxord being a fun uncle, and Vexen even being a straight-up dick asking Roxas if he's daft when the poor boy is just getting the hang of what he's supposed to be doing. And most of these missions are actually the same. Heartless hunts, emblem hunts, boss hunts, recon, etc. We'll come back to this later. Gearing up for these missions is arguably the coolest system in the Kingdom Hearts franchise to date, using the panel system, a blank Tetris grid and blocks for all of your equipment and items. It's only used in this game, and it's a crime that it's not used more. Whatever you want to do, you can, provided you have the panels and the space for it. Although you can't customize combos like in other games, you more or less just change the usage of the Keyblade. You can pick fast ground combos, good aerial capability, better magic, better strength, a good balance, whatever you want. Bear in mind that each Keyblade unit comes with its own drawbacks and advantages. If you pick a magic-heavy Keyblade, your melee combos will probably be very slow and clunky and do chip damage, and the same caveat goes for melee-heavy weapons. You probably won't be using a lot of magic, but physical attacks will be a lot more heavy-hitting. The better items, such as a level tripler and quadrupler, are more complex shaped, making you think about how you'll fit the level ups and how you'll lay out your panels around them. Aside from Keyblades, you have the typical abilities that you would expect from a Kingdom Hearts game. Scan, high jump, glide, etc., and a special mechanic that you can only find in this game called the Limit Break. When you lose enough health down to a certain point, you can hold down the attack button and you enter Limit Mode, where your attacks are boosted and you do much more damage. Later on, you get an upgrade to this ability called Final Limit. During Final Limit, your moveset will be boosted even further and you'll deal even more damage. For example, Roxas' base limit is Event Horizon, swinging your Keyblade around dealing massive damage, and his final limit is Magic Hour, a spinning attack with light pillars extending outward and away from you towards enemies. It's important to note that you aren't invulnerable in Limit Break, so you have to think about using it and just spamming attacks since it only takes a few hits to knock you out. Days isn't afraid of playing around with the order you complete missions, often encouraging backtracking to fully 100% each mission. For example, in the very first Heartless hunt, a little after the tutorials, on the way back to RTC you might encounter a Zip Slasher, a very strong enemy with an extremely large health pool. It's also immune to magic and only melee attacks does damage. If you're like me, you do end up coming back later. The same goes for the rest of the missions that might have something that you can come back to do later, like using a high jump to reach an extra chest. While some days only have one mission to do, some have multiple, and ones that are mandatory to progress are marked with a key. If you do these mandatory missions first and auto-progress, you can still go back and do the missions you skipped. Not only that, but completing non-mandatory missions adds to your bonus meter on the mission complete screen, meaning the more extra missions you do, the more likely your rewards will be doubled or even tripled. Throughout the entire game, Roxas has feelings of deja vu since he shares Sora's memories, and because of this, occasionally the screen will fade into Sora acting out your movements for a few seconds before fading back to your original screen, like in Olympus Coliseum or Wonderland. The enemy variety isn't too bad either, with many types of Heartless to fight, and some with different debuffs, such as flipping your controls, disabling your jump, disabling your magic, some even heal or protect others with barriers. Now, we'll go back to what I said earlier about most of the missions being the same. At some point, you might start to feel like playing the game and completing these missions is a slog, and honestly, I kinda think that's the point. It is, after all, work, doing menial tasks for the organization to do their bidding, which in your case is to defeat Heartless and collect hearts, as you're the only one that can do that with the Keyblade. It really puts you in the same mindset as Roxas. Towards the end of the game, Roxas discovers the plan and what he's really been doing for the organization, freeing hearts while his powers are simultaneously being leached by Xion. Understandably, he's pretty upset. He leaves the organization and he has this exchange with Axel on the way out of the castle.
I have to know.
You can't turn on the organization. You get on their bad side and they'll destroy you.
No one would miss me.
That's not true. I would.
In the following scene, you wind up back at the clock tower in Twilight Town, like a kid planning to run away but stopping at the end of his driveway because he doesn't actually know what to do. Xion of all people sit with you, however, something's not right. She pulls down her hood and she looks like Sora. As it turns out, Xion was a puppet for the organization the entire time, sapping away Roxas's memories of Sora over time so they could completely have the power of the Keyblade under their control. Xion walks away from Roxas on the clock tower on thin air, and she teleports you both to Agrabah, making use of the strange devices you planted there on previous missions. Each area, Xion has different forms and attacks, with the final phase being a giant version of her at the clock tower with Vector to the Heavens playing. I think this is a great climax and what I consider the final boss of the game. Everything you knew was a lie from the start, trying to hold on to the little remaining time you have and wishing it never ended. And now this is the unfortunate result of all of it, having to fight one of your best friends. When you win, it's not a victory to celebrate, and it's not something to feel good about doing. It's something that shouldn't have even happened at all. Defeating Xion, Roxas begins to lose his memories of her and the time shared together with Axel. It's such a nice detail that during this cutscene, another is shown on the bottom screen, Roxas, Axel, and Xion in the clock tower, but as the scene goes on, Xion gradually disappears, showing that their memories are gone. Xion starts to wither away, and despite the memories of her being erased, Roxas's bond is too strong and remembers her regardless. Xion knew her place within the organization and knew the plan, and she fought Roxas of her own will and knew she would lose rather than letting them keep her as a puppet. She pleads with Roxas and begs not to let Xemnas win and get his way, asking him to release Kingdom Hearts. We are now in the world that never was, fully kitted out in the rain with your hood up in both your and Xion's Keyblades. They change to Oblivion and Oathkeeper, and you begin the final stage of the game. You run through the alleyways, destroying Neo Shadows effortlessly, until reaching the skyscraper and meeting with Riku. You're about to fight, but you realize you're outnumbered by the Heartless. Destroying all of them, you both resume your stances and fight. Roxas overpowers Riku and almost wins, but Naminé voices to Riku to stop Roxas, since Sora can't be complete without him.
Riku, please! You have to stop him!
Riku releases his dark powers and leaves Roxas unconscious.
I have accepted it.
Our next scene is where Kingdom Hearts 2 begins. Overall, this game is just as fantastic as the rest of the series, and the overarching story is a beautiful parallel for real life. We all may have jobs to do and don't want to do them, but it's the friends we have and make time for to make it bearable. All around, all said and done, I give this game a 4 out of 5, and I highly recommend it still. Hey guys, JPG here. Thank you so much for watching my first video. I really appreciate you making it this far. If you want to see my next video, it's going to be dropping soon. It'll be on Ratchet Deadlocked. I hope to see you there. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good one.